Stop rushing, I'm begging you, because the thing you're doing to save time is the exact reason you feel behind and overwhelmed. Every client argues with me on this at first, but when they try it, they feel calmer, more in control, and slip into a flow way easier, sometimes on the same day. And I know what you're thinking right now. I don't have time to slow down, but that's a lie. If you're new here, this channel is about helping people like you, high performers and leaders, interrupt those outdated habits that create friction. Know what to do when the effort you're so familiar with stops working and lead extraordinary life. This isn't theory. I work with people who are running companies, leading teams, making high stakes decisions every day. And almost all of them come in thinking they need to do more, go faster, when in reality, they need to stop pushing. And if you've looked into productivity at all, you've probably heard some version of this already. Set clear goals, break things into smaller steps. Use your time more intentionally. Stop cramming everything last minute. Be specific about what done looks like. Write 100 words, finish the outline, complete one section. Take big tasks and split them into smaller ones so they don't feel overwhelming. Use small pockets of time, 30 minutes here, an hour there, instead of waiting for the perfect block. Start earlier. Give yourself a buffer time. Don't lead everything until the last second. And to be fair, that advice works. When you actually follow it, you feel more organized, in control. You can even start making progress again. But here's the problem. That isn't going to fix the core issue, because I've worked with people who, even when they have all the right strategies, clear goals, task managers, structure, they still feel overwhelmed. They still feel behind, trying to push past the friction to make things happen. And that's why people come to me frustrated, because they're doing everything right, but it's still not working, because the real problem isn't their strategies. It's how they approach them. I like to call this redlining in first gear. Why? Because you're going 100 miles an hour, but using way more energy than you need to. So your day becomes a sequence of reactions. Sounds familiar? Slack message, emails, notifications, fire after fire, a constant game of whack-a-mole, putting out fires nonstop, crises after crises. And here's what's really happening underneath all that you're not really moving forward. You're trying to escape the feeling of being behind. You're trying to regulate your anxiety through movement. So you're going faster, 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 but you're never actually shifting gears. And this creates a very specific kind of day. You're busy from the start to finish, outwardly seemingly, everything under control, but underneath it all, you're paddling furiously underwater, answering messages, clearing tasks, handling small, feel-good things. And at the end of the day, you didn't move anything meaningful forward. Not the big decision, not the strategic work, not the thing that actually mattered. Hours went by and you look back thinking, how could I be this busy and still not get ahead? That's what pushing through the friction does when you don't address your approach. It fills up your time while stealing your progress. Now, here's one of the most dangerous patterns I see. The busier someone gets, the more they skip the planning. They say something like, I don't have time to plan today. I have too much to do. Sound familiar? But this guarantees you'll spend the entire day reacting, because without a plan, your brain just defaults on urgency. Instead of prioritizing by importance, now your entire day is dictated by what feels loud instead of what actually matters. And you end up exhausted and at the end of the day, without clarity. So what's the shift? The shift is the move that changes everything, is sensing before solving. Your brain wants to stabilize the situation as quickly as possible. So it reaches for the first solution it finds and runs with it. But that's exactly what traps you, because rushing narrows your thinking. It cuts better options before they even appear. So instead, the ninja move you need to make is to pause. Don't react immediately. You don't push a solution, you look, you take it in, you let the situation breathe, because the pause creates possibility. And the right next move usually becomes obvious when you stop forcing it. Now, let me make this simple, because this is where people overcomplicate things. You don't need to change who you are. You need to interrupt those old reactive habits. How? 3 breaths, slow, deep, into your belly. That's it. I know this sounds almost too simple, but I've seen it work again and again because it cuts through the reactive patterns and it stretches your nervous system into more resilience. It brings your executive functioning back online. It interrupts all that reactive spiral. When you're pushing, it's like water flooding into a boat. When you're trying to think clearly while it's filling up, the pause stops the leaking. And once the leaking stops, your clarity comes back. And if you want to know more about how to stop giving away your energy, I made a video about this last week. I'll leave a link in the description. I've watched this shift happen in real time with clients, sometimes even under an hour. They go from frantic to grounded, from scattered to clear. They stop obsessing over outcomes and start actually solving problems. They show up differently in meetings. They think more clearly. They make better decisions. And the feeling they describe is also, it's usually the same: settled, clear, calm, not because the workload disappeared, but because they stopped fighting themselves by not pushing into the friction that they were feeling. Now, here's what most people don't realize. When you stay in that rush state, things don't just stay hard. They get hard unnecessarily. You make rush decisions. You react emotionally. You create problems that didn't need to exist. And if you're leading people, they feel it, they hesitate, they wait, they stop taking initiative because they're trying to avoid your reactivity. And now everything depends on you, not because it has to, but because your pace created this environment. So if you feel behind, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like there's never enough time, this is for you. Stop doing more. Take the pause and ask yourself what really matters right now. Because when you stop pushing and rushing, you'll take back your control. And if you want help applying this to your specific situation, find the link for a private call in the description. We'll walk through exactly where you're stuck and how to shift out of that constant rush and push into clarity and control. And if you're serious about interrupting those old strategies that are costing you time and efficiency, check out my channel for more videos like this that will help you move beyond an efficient effort and into extraordinary moments of success.